So this is episode 91 of the TPR podcast.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, I've been nervous about saying that because ever since we did the episode with Emmer, I said TPR podcast, and he's like, "Isn't TPR pod supposed to be the Paradrome podcast?" And I was like, "Yo, मैंने कर दिया, NIC card कर दिया मैंने." But anyway, this episode goes out sometime from now. But बड़े अरसे से हमने जिन stories नहीं की थी because we live these non-religious lives और हमारे उसमें तो कोई जिन आते ही नहीं. तो बड़ा अफसोस हुआ मैं. We keep asking people and लोग भी जवाब नहीं देते. But it so happens that on Twitter एकदम से somebody decided, I don't know why, we'll ask why, but somebody decided to do a Jinn story thread, and that is Mr. Kayhan over there. Can I please hath? Yes, very good. Bro,
Hi, Kayhan.
Kayhan decided to do a thread on jinns in his house in Islamabad. And then suddenly followed up by Zahra. Zahra, aap bhi haath la dein, so people know who Zahra is.
The only girl, obviously.
She also decided to do a Jinn story thread, also in Islamabad.
Lahore.
Okay, because I was going to wonder कि Islamabad में क्यों हो रही है इतनी activity. So we thought we just exploit other people's stories and हम उनके ऊपर एक पूरी episode बना देते हैं. So let's start off with Kayhan and Zahra. Bari bari. अब जरा बताएं, how have you guys been? सब खैरियत है? COVID showered? Are you safe? Everything good? वैसे तकल्लुफ आना सवाल.
Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही होना चाहिए. Yes.
जी मैं ठीक हूँ. बहुत शुक्रिया आप पूछने का. बाकी
Zahra,
सवाल
now,
तो COVID showered.
इस पूरी episode में ना you will only speak in Urdu. ठीक है?
चलो ठीक है. कोशिश करते हैं.
Yeah. Kayhan, how have you been? Are you good? सब खैरियत?
Yeah, man, I've been fine. I hate the pandemic like everybody else.
Right. A unique
But
opinion.
yeah, very unique opinion. No. But I don't know, like all the days feel the same, and I just wanted to stop.
Yeah. So now that
everybody's tired.
Now that you have said that, I think it will finally stop. Kayhan, why did you do this? A question that I don't know if you've been asked in your life before.
Why did I do it? I still don't know why. So,
have you talked about this before, or like how did the idea come about? So
we these stories we generally never told people outside our close friends or like family. Like say, like in passing, we'd say like, "Oh yeah, like our house is haunted," but we never really discussed it in detail. But I don't know. I was actually very bored, and I have like started getting into writing very lame and stupid Twitter threads, and I was like, oh, this could be a fun thing. So I messaged my sisters and I was like, hey, I'm gonna write about this. And for a second they were like, we don't want our like private life and like our past life like discussed on Twitter. But then they were fine with it. They said, okay, fine, like just go through with it. And I just did. I just posted it for fun, man. I didn't think it would blow up, and I didn't think people would find it that scary or that interesting. But apparently,
it was really scary.
Yeah. It was really scary.
Zahra, I found your thread traumatizing. Like I was like, oh, we had it easy.
Like, no, I feel like we had it easy.
No, Zahra was like, तुम लोग तो interact कर रहे हो उनके साथ, like the ow.
Oh,
like,
interaction काफी थी, yeah.
Let's have parties.
जिंदा दिलाने लो.
Guys, whose Jinn was worse? Whose was better?
Guys, I had it easy.
मैं क्या पता.
Yeah.
The Jinns are probably fighting right now, bro.
Yeah. हमें tag नहीं किया.
Zahra, my wife likes your glasses. Just she wants to say that.
Thanks, publisher.
Nope.
No.
Sarkhel said that.
you. I don't know your wife's name. I'm sorry.
और हम अब से उसका नाम भी पलवशा है अच्छा तो Kayhan, so this was not like you didn't like suddenly remember एक दिन के that was weird.
I did suddenly remember the stories because I don't like think about them in everyday life. I don't even want to go there. So they're just like locked in like this vault. But yeah, but I was like, oh, you know what? Like people might enjoy it. Like my followers, my friends might enjoy it. So I just went with
And
it.
then if we go to this thread, we are now at 500 plus retweets, 2000 plus likes. So people did enjoy it. I guess it's safe.
Yeah.
Thoda
No,
sa.
the actually impressions go up to 360,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
Impress कर
Which-
दिया boy ने.
जिसमें I'm like क्यों नहीं किया like like ही कर देते you know like
Send money. That's what we said. No.
Yeah,
Likely
yeah.
पैसे भेजो हमारे घर पे. तो
वो काफी सारे likes दूसरी dimension में है.
yeah, oh god.
Oh.
So you just said that you don't think about it, you don't like to be reminded about it, but why not? Let's just go through the thread. If you could take us through this story, ताकि फिर हम decide कर सकें. अच्छा, standard
Yeah.
disclaimer.
God.
We've done Jinn story threads before, Jinn story episodes before, और लोगों की बड़ी शिकायत रही है कि we're not like keeping it dark or serious, एकदम से माहौल नहीं बनाया हुआ हमने.
Should I
अभी भी नहीं होगा.
turn off the lights? We should all turn off the lights. It should be the black screen.
Yeah. But let's just go through it. और हम बीच में if we interrupt, please बुरा ना मानिएगा. जी Kayhan, please.
Yeah, well, I don't have the thread open.
Fucking, I sent it to you.
No, but oh my. Okay, fine.
I sent it to you. Okay, bro, खोल लो.
We sent you your thread.
Pinned
Okay,
to your
I never look back.
अच्छा.
This is what happens when you have ghostwriters.
Yeah. Oh.
अच्छा.
नीक सी बात कर दी बड़ी. खैर अच्छा.
Acha, what? Do you want me to narrate it or something and then
Just keep
expand?
it. Go through the thing. You don't have to read it, but just so that you don't forget some shit.
I know this. I lived it. What do you
Acha,
mean?
how old were you?
Oh, Ali sent me my thread too, and he's
Huh,
like,
and
just remember.
Just, yeah, like just I'm
just
like,
revise.
What does he mean?
Exam.
Skip पढ़ लो.
Change. It hasn't changed ever.
अच्छा बताएं.
Acha,
please.
okay. So we moved into that house. Like बड़े लोग कहते हैं कि like, oh, he doesn't remember the year or anything. I don't remember years. I don't even like.
I was gonna ask how old you were when.
I think I was 6, but I could have been older. Like I don't remember it in like किस year हम उधर move हुए थे. We moved from Rawalpindi actually, and initially the house had been empty. Okay, dark. The house had been empty for 20 years and it was not completed. My parents actually, when they like asked to rent that house, वो फिर renovate हुआ था like थोड़ा सा, and like उसमें बड़ी खिड़कियां लगी थी and the toilets were redone and everything like that. But we moved there. We were a family of 7 people, my grandparents and my siblings, parents, and but then eventually you read the thread, things got weird, and gradually they kept getting weirder and weirder, and bus what 16 years in that house, man.
16. Oh, अच्छा. So
yeah,
a lot of shit happened और तुम लोग भी लेकिन बाज नहीं आए. Like you
यार ये क्वेश्चन लोग बहुत पूछते हैं कि हम लोग बाज नहीं आए, और मैं like अब उनको like what do I, एक तो मैं कहता हूँ रेंट कम था, जो कि सच बात है. F8 में रेंट कम is impossible.
F8 में बताओ किधर था वैसे ये?
F81.
F81. Okay. Because I lived in F8.
F8 मरकज के opposite.
हाँ, main मरकज के opposite. Yeah. Okay.
हाँ. So क्या कहते हैं? Yeah. So the thing is
What is that?
Rizwan, are you playing music?
Who's playing music?
Just trying to make it dark. Yeah.
No. Sounds like he's laughing.
So the thing is a lot of people ask me this question like, why did you stay there 16 years? And but the thing is when these things one, I didn't write this thread for anybody to believe in it. I can care less. Like you can write it off as shoddy creative writing as long as I care. But the thing is, when something like this happens to you, right? You don't, your brain can't compute it. Like you think it's like the light, it's like something else, like your mind playing tricks on you. But जब इतनी ज़्यादा चीज़ें होती हैं, and then you have no choice but to believe in them or something, like even if it's not jinn, like I don't know, but that's why क्या कहते हैं. So as time goes on, like life goes back to normal. People think that these things were happening 24/7 at our house. That's not true. That life would go back to normal almost instantly. So
what things though?
What do you mean?
कभी तो बताएं आप ताकि लोग.
Yes, what things? What? Ask me the questions, man. Come on. Like what the
So
jinn?
what is your first oldest memory when you first, as far back as you can remember or have been told, like that okay, that what is this happening? Ya kuch hua. What sort of shit would happen?
Like just conversation experiences, like sometimes like things would happen to other people and we'd obviously find out later, not right there. But my scariest, not scariest, but the thing that cemented it for me, like really, was like waking up next to it or whatever. And the thing is that I say that I was absolutely not sleeping or like dreaming is because I laid there for like 10 seconds just looking at it, and like अल्लाह की कसम अगर वो आंख खोलती ना चीज मैंने टट्टी कर देनी थी. Like
So you wake up in bed and there's something in bed next to you.
Yeah, and I even like said like I described it, and one thing I actually did omit from that thread, that Twitter post, was that uski jo skin thi na, like its skin was like a gray maybe, and just like imagine, man, like imagine just waking up and like something with like these big eyelids, like indented wo bhi thodi si.
Eyelids were enormous.
I would like to not imagine that, thank you.
The face.
The face, yeah,
was
like
stretched.
like
But the rest of it was like a humanoid figure.
I don't even like, मैं तो उसकी बस शक्ल देखता. I was not concerned. I was just like so in shock. I just was like, this is impossible. Like this doesn't make sense.
You know, said it looked like a face that had been stretched and chin and forehead.
Yeah, and by that I don't mean stretch backward like that. वो covered Courage the Cowardly Dog की जो memes सारे मुझे भेज रहे हैं, but more like vertical.
Like just long. Like
yeah, just long, face. Just long and
was
really
this
big.
Also sleep paralysis? Like were you also paralyzed at the same
no,
time?
I was not. I was not paralyzed. I've had sleep paralysis. Like I know like the difference between it, and I've had vivid dreams and all that stuff. But no, this was very real. It was tangible, and like if I touched it, I would have touched it. Like it was just anyhow मेरी तो उसी वक्त pack हो गई, and then I went like I don't know how I got to my mother's bed, and वो यही होता है कि like वो literally उसके बाद you just is fight or flight, you know, like you just like once you realize what is happening, you just.
So did you roll onto like the other side to make sure you didn't?
No, he went over him.
Or over him, or like did you slide like that way, like down the bed?
I think when you like when you like just jump on like all fours and then you get up from above the bed. Like I think that I did that. But
there was a story in your thread about a cook that you employed as well.
Yeah. That story actually, I remember when that happened, I didn't क्या कहते हैं, I saw what was happening to the cook, but I didn't know the story until like later. That you know, I saw my mother and my dad talking to my grandparents about it. Like, this is going on. Like, this is what the cook is saying and stuff. And I remember a bit of that.
What was the cook saying?
The cook was saying कि like usko na ye raat ko tang karte hain. Like and they make him sing and clap for them. So he was like the entertainment for them. And he couldn't sleep because of it. Like they would laugh in his ear and they would make fun of him. And then if he did sleep, like they would we had a green belt at the end of our street. Just make kabar bhi thi, by the way. Just make like yeah. Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm not, but I don't want to say these things because I don't want people to go to that house.
Right.
Because, but the thing is, ke, he used to say, ke, if I slept, they would drag me there and leave me there.
घर के
So
बाहर ले जाते थे उसको.
yeah, no, this involves a lot of travel because driveway se bahar, street ke end mein, you know.
Right. Did you guys hear? I don't know, but you clearly didn't. But did anyone hear him doing the singing, the clapping, him being dragged?
So the thing is, we did not, because also the quarter was like outside the house and like far, it's like a little bit separate. But क्या कहते हैं, उसकी हालत बहुत बुरी हो गई थी. Like उस बंदे की, he was completely like a zombie, and he just left one day, and we never heard from him again.
Damn.
That's crazy. And then so are you the youngest in your siblings?
No, I'm the middle child.
Was there like a situation where shit was happening, but ye bache chote hain, inko na batao? Like you mentioned that people were locking your sister in the bathroom.
Yeah, but
there's no
नहीं
explanation.
नहीं, कुछ इस तरह ये नहीं था कि बच्चों को ना बताओ, ये वो इस तरह का नहीं था. We generally would find out things later a bit, like after they had happened. But I actually still remember one time my elder sister was in the bathroom and she was like screaming and crying, and वो ना her windows used to be open upstairs. सही है? तो the thing is that I had to once climb up into her room was locked. I had to climb up and then unlock her door, bathroom door, because if somebody locked it. So I don't know what she was doing, probably smoking, but like that's why her like khirki was open. But the thing is, yeah, I remember that clearly. But you know what? The interesting bit is that my sister had completely blocked that out from her memory.
Wow.
Like completely. And the thing is this मतलब कि मुझे ये याद है, my mother remembers this, and then one of my cousin remembers this as well. Like I remember opening the door for her, like the kundi, and yeah, my sister has completely blocked it out.
Wow. And you said the pictures in her room were like,
yeah, well, whenever she used to like come and go, like she would see, but that's not like a story like as such. That was just like a small story.
But it's like a recurring thing that would happen.
Yeah, it was a recurring thing. Yeah.
Acha. And there was also a tree you mentioned, like a mango.
Yeah, so the tree, I recently found out that the landlord cut that tree, which was smart, and which is like, it's funny that we didn't think of that. But the tree was, yeah, it was just that whole alleyway, like wo jo ghar ke side pe hoti hai, that was just a weird place. Like even in the mornings, you just felt wrong when you were there. And that tree was like, it was dusty, it was like, it was black, like literally uski jo bark thi.
Kidding me?
You're only checking out the audio version. A cat showed up Zahra ke barabar mein, or Zahra had a slight reaction. But khair.
We're fine.
So the tree, yeah. So my cousin's son, my cousin used to visit, and uske jo her son was very little, and he used to go and talk to someone on that tree. We had a living room ki window which looked right across that tree, and it was really like disturbing, like the way he would do it. Like he would just always run up there and like just look outside the window and start talking to someone. And at first we were like, oh, whatever, like bache, like
that exact sound,
imagination, yeah, you know. but like he started doing it a lot, and once they visited, and he would just not move from there. So my cousin was like, my cousin asked him in front of everyone, "Okay, listen, who are you talking to? What?" And he's like, "I have a friend who lives in that tree, and can't you see him? He has a red beard and like a red hair, and he likes to talk to me." Or yeah, and
Wow.
like everybody was like, "Oh," like like yeah.
Acha.
So yeah, that whole side was very scary for us. Like in general, like subah bhi, sham ko bhi, like we just
Did you say
didn't.
there was a room by that tree?
Living room. So our living room
Living room,
had like
okay.
this strange, like this geometrical window,
Mm,
and it uske bilkul like bahar wo darakht tha upar.
okay.
But that tree was, yeah, that tree
So
was, there was something up with it.
nobody could see somebody in the tree. The tree.
No, absolutely not. No.
But
Or like
then your popo you said in the thread, she actually did see like a kid.
not in the tree.
No, but like in as part of
Yeah.
the general
Oh
theme
my
of
god.
occurrences.
So disclaimer, I have a lot of pupos. I have 5 pupos. So, yeah.
Nice.
And they always used to be over, like all the time. And kya kehte hain, once this child followed my pupo inside, like from the entrance of the house, and it was just right next to her, and she was like, okay, I could tell it was not human. It didn't talk. I didn't want to talk to it. Like I knew in my heart that I couldn't talk to it, or maybe like I was so scared. So it just followed her around the house until it didn't. And my papa was like, "Main bas, like I was just roaming around out of purpose, just hoping that this thing would just leave, you know."
Mm.
Wow.
And then my this papa of mine, well, she would see this wolf like humanoid creature uh peeking through doors, like whenever like we would be sitting in a room, and she'd just like see it, like right there, like just looking, and it would also eventually disappear. But well, yeah, okay, like when these things a lot of people were saying, "Oh, all of you have schizophrenia," and I was like, I wish. No, I don't actually.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia is very serious. But kya kehte hain, it's
It would be like a more easier explanation than
yeah, it would, yeah,
what actually
because I don't मतलब कि when I joke about this and say कि like आपकी फट जाती है, आपकी असल में फट, like you just your your brain can't compute it, your brain can't explain it, and you're just like, what just happened, like
Yeah.
you this is impossible, like
Yo, in your thread there was something about, I think, your cousins coming over a lot, and now you mentioned your papa's coming home over a lot.
yeah,
Whenever they came, obviously they experienced something.
yeah.
What, I mean, why did they keep going back? Like, what's wrong with them? मैं तो
Where-
कभी ना आता
Dude,
तुम्हारे घर
okay,
यार.
okay, wait.
दिमाग
So,
खराब है सबका.
so my grandparents live with us, right? So it was like the family house, right? So even if they didn't want to come, they had to come, you know. Like
And also speaking of ye popo वगैरह, and you're
yeah,
saying the wolf thing in the door. So this is like one thing would be, oh, एक बंदे ने कहानी बना दी और maybe वो repeat कर दी. But this is
yeah.
like separate people
These are
seeing the same
these are
thing.
no, these are not the same thing. The only connection I have personally with the wolf thing is that growling incident we experienced with my sister's friend.
What was that?
So me, my elder sister, and her friend were sleeping in the upstairs living room with the geometrical window. So yeah, and we had, because we had guests over, and they were basically, all the rooms were like full and stuff. So raat ko, I remember just like growling, like noise, like if somebody was growling really loud, and this is like just a few feet away from above the railing, so yeah. And I was just like, this is insane, like there's no dog inside. We have one dog, and he's like downstairs somewhere. Like our dogs were not allowed inside back then. And it was just like it was wild. It was just like I was like "Ek kyun nahi koi kuch bol raha aur kuch kar raha," but turned out yes, I thought they were sleeping and I was the only one hearing it. But when we woke up in the morning, I said, "Oh, did you hear that?" And they all, like my sister and her friend went, "Oh, yeah, we heard it. I heard it too. I heard it too." Like, what was that? What was that? So, kya kehte hain? And then we were like, okay, yeah, it was probably something. But that was so we had like these scary incidents throughout the world. But the thing is,
Such a nonchalant reaction. Yeah, it's probably something.
नहीं, but तुम्हें but honestly मैं तुम्हें एक बात बताऊं कि you become desensitized to it very quickly.
Okay.
Like,
Just listen, maybe after like the 100th time it happens, I'll probably get desensitized.
no. Like these
20 दफा भी हो जाए मेरे साथ ना.
सुहेल
you
रोएगा.
say that एक ही दफा काफी होता है, मैं तुम्हें ये भी बता दूं. Like, but क्या कहते हैं, yeah, but we used to joke about these things, we used to laugh about these things, and like by the end of my thread I do say कि like ऊपर लोगों की भागने की आवाजें आती थी, like very clear, whole family sitting, my dad sitting next to me, my mother sitting next to me, and we're just looking at each other going, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Like TV aisa karo, and then it would go tak 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 tak, da, darwaza band. And then I used to run upstairs. To
Run upstairs?
yeah.
I will run outside.
No. I would
रेस
run
लगाने
up.
जाता था.
Yeah, no, I would be like, nahi, like not show yourself, but maybe like just
Maybe I see something.
run or like whatever you do.
Right, your
But-
family has balls of steel. So,
We don't. But
yeah, you do.
you know, you
Um,
just yeah.
But
Sorry.
there was also so then there was I liked the lightning storm situation.
Yeah, wo bahut weird cheez thi. Wo I don't even know how to classify that. I don't know if that was even related. I thought about not putting it on the thread, but it was also it was very weird. So just a normal like evening, my mother and I were in the drawing room, and our drawing room was like the window would overlook the garden, and kya kehte hain, I just for like a seismic second, like half of a second, this like white ball of electricity just like floating above the ground just formed and exploded, and the whole room lit up, and I just like I was like, did you see that? And my mother was like, no, what happened? The whole room lit up, like, and it did. The whole, and this was subah. This was like
Oh, not
evening.
even
This was
raat ko.
no, this was like 5 p.m., 4 p.m., like evening time. Jab roshni thi bahar. So that was really weird. So I don't even know what that was, but then I did some Googling and stuff, and the rest is in the thread.
Right.
What I assume it was, but yeah.
So then, but then there's no negative like influence. Like they're not fucking with you. You see them, आवाज आ रही है, ये वो. The cook had a bad time.
Okay. Yeah, I will tell you something very honestly, which I didn't put in the thread. So yeah, that house, that is he smoking? Is this
Yeah.
a smoking friendly podcast?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I should have been told that. That was very important. But it's okay. Going back. So the thing is, I actually forgot your question.
No negative.
No negative, yes. So that house of ours we saw our best and also our worst times in that house as a family. And I would tell you that we really felt there was a shadow on us. Like we were doing bad financially. We were doing bad in like a lot of aspects. Like I have good memories of that house is because I've blocked a lot of the bad stuff. But you did feel a shadow on you. Like my dad tried so hard to get things going, and everything would just, our luck was just like, misfortune was just abound. Like it was really, and the minute we left that house, and something else I didn't say is that when we left that house, we all cried outside, like as a family, like in a movie, standing at the gate. We looked at that house and we were all crying when we had to leave. And the minute we left our house, our luck changed. like instantly.
Mm.
So I think there was something negative in that house.
You
And
said that some religious scholars type also visited.
yeah. So kya kehte hain, my father is basically he's none of us are religious except my mother a bit.
Mm.
Wo bhi. My father is more of a skeptic, and it's a miracle he's not atheist or agnostic.
Mm.
So him believing in jinns is like a big
Hard sell.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hard. But he had a friend who when and he would discuss these things with his friends, okay, like this is what is happening in our house. And one of his friends insisted that he knew like the scholar. He actually brought both of the scholars in at a different time. So both the scholars came and they said the same thing. They said a family of 5 lives upstairs in that house. Say it. And they don't want to hurt you. They have grown very used to you. Say it. So you don't. They said कि, like basically don't worry about them. But this was also like around or a little bit after midway that like 16 years. So like around 8-9 year mark. And they were like, it's fine, don't worry about it too much. One even said कि, like they kind of offer protection or something, but I mean like you're basically in their space, so you're in the wrong, but it's okay, like they've grown used to you.
Okay.
So uske baad to we were just chill. We were like chill scene, let's have a sutta, let's have a
इन्होंने बता
party.
दिया तो बस
Yes.
ठीक है.
Like, but it's reassuring, even if you don't believe in these believe ke matlab ke, like they know these things and stuff. Like it is reassuring. And
I'm
what
surprised
can you
did your dad remain a skeptic throughout and till now? मतलब लोगों को
No, he believes in jinns, which is the
अच्छा, so that's not
like,
what he was skeptical about.
no, he's generally skeptical about everything. Sahi hai? But kya kehte hain? But he does, and that made it easier for us to believe in jinns as well, right? And then when you experience these things and all these things like conflict and clash in your head, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
And this is something now that your family like doesn't mention, or all your 5 fuppos and your cousins or
No, we do. We
Achha.
laugh about it. We literally laugh about it. Like but we don't talk about it much. Like we don't bring it up in conversation. It's like it's the past and it's past. So
चलो अच्छी बात है, we've kept it private till now.
yeah.
I hope the jinns don't find your thread.
Yeah, no, I really hope not.
Stayed in a house for 16 years and now he's
because of
talking shit on Twitter.
Yeah. Sorry, Zahra, you were saying.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm just wondering, 16 years is a really long time in one house. And then did you guys move? I'm guessing not. You didn't move because of what was happening, but did it have any kind of influence on your decision to move?
No, actually, absolutely not. We moved because our landlady's sons wanted to move to Islamabad from Peshawar.
Right. ये भी तो होता है. After
Yeah, and the thing is, they gave us an ultimatum. They were like, "Itna rent badega, varna you leave the house." And the rent, and they were like being very unreasonable at that point. So we were like, you know what, we'll find a new house, like a brand new house, and that much. So we'll just like pay less and move.
Were they aware of the jinn situation?
Yeah. So my dad actually told the landlady a few times, okay, like, hello, there's something in this house, but hello, but the thing is, okay, like, she didn't care, didn't give an F. So kya kehte hain, but
You
what
can say the F word
happened,
on the podcast, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I am not aware of these rules and guidelines. I will just So the thing is, the funny thing is, after we left, 6 months after we left, around that time, when the sons had moved in, they actually called my dad and they were like, and you know how like they were very careful of their words, like how they worded that. Okay, like this conversation, they were like, "Aapka like." Was everything okay in this house? जब आप इधर रह रहे थे, like, you know, not to sound crazy. And my dad was like, "Hey, listen, we told your mother they're like jinns in the
Yeah.
house," and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're having a bad time," and they're like trying to mess with
Bullying
us.
us.
Yeah.
Nice. Acha.
Mm.
So, and you mentioned that the house was cheap when you moved in, and बहुत अच्छे
Yeah.
से खाली था.
Yeah, not because of that reason, because of the
Acha.
reason that it wasn't finished, you know.
Okay,
And
right.
yeah, so my parents had a little bit of say in how the house got finished with the like landlady
Right,
and the
because she had to renovate.
yeah, because
Right,
they
right.
did have to renovate, or like the windows were very small, so they broke and put in bigger windows and stuff like that.
ठीक है, Rizwan, any thoughts on all of this?
I hope I didn't bore you guys. Like,
Nahi, nahi. Bro, this is too much.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to talk about I'm good. I'm gonna go.
अब तो आ गई. अब तो
Like-
you're stuck in all of this.
A part of me is expecting
Yeah.
कि Kayhan के current कमरे में कुछ एकदम से and we और हम सब की फट जाए, कुछ कैमरा पे दिख जाए, and
Yeah.
but
That would be a really good publicity.
Kayhan, where do you live now?
I live in
Act
Lahore.
actress.
No. I live in Lahore. Yeah.
Oh,
Rizwan,
not that far from my fate.
Expecting
Yeah,
is a weird way to say hoping, but chalo. But जबरदस्ती segue ढूंढते हुए, speaking of Lahore, तो फिर Zahra, you were in Lahore for a period of your life, and
Okay, wait. I haven't. So I read Kayhan's thread, and then I pussied out and I didn't read Zahra's thread. So
Yeah.
Zahra, you may want to,
What?
read your thread out for me.
I'm not going to read my
You have to.
for
Why?
myself.
Why do you think people are watching this podcast? There's 4 people that are watching this podcast. Why?
It's for
Wait.
reading out threads, word by word. No, we.
Look, try to खुद ही पढ़ लें.
Or listen,
can talk about
you
it.
don't read out your thread. Just narrate it in your own words. Like
Yeah.
Okay.
you have your own words too. But
Yeah.
like,
So you read Kayhan's thread.
yeah,
I had some thoughts.
I read Kayhan's thread और फिर मेरे पे जिन चढ़ा. Eh.
निकाल दो, cancel, खत्म पढ़. Yeah. Okay.
So I read Kayhan's thread, and there were quite a few similarities. I feel like maybe in the way that you were writing about your experience, certain symbolism, I suppose, certain themes.
Yeah.
And I'm very much like your older sister in the sense that I've blocked out a lot of stuff. And I was like, don't go there. But I couldn't stop reading. It was a very, very well written thread. So good job. But then I was like, chalo, main bhi likhti hu. Like, why not, right? But it was also very like, acha, I have to sit and think about it. Do I even want to write about it? I didn't even consult my only sibling about if I should write it or not. This is my cat, Alu. Alu, say hi.
Wow.
Alu.
Great
Yes, love
names.
it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Is that a rabbit?
No, he is a Persian.
Oh, the colors देख के मैंने कहा कि मैं थोड़ी सी अपनी
you
knowledge
say hi?
गलत इस्तेमाल कर लूं. But okay.
He's so
Alu.
cute.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I kind of mulled it over for like a day or two. Because I was like, okay, fine. If we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, we're gonna fucking go down this rabbit hole, And so we moved to this house. I think I was 14 or 15, something like that. So it's by Lums, and similar to Kayhan, I don't want to really specify exactly where, because I don't want to draw unnecessary attention. If there are people living there, I don't know. But so that's what happened. And I guess our experience was much more interactive, as Kayhan was saying. And not because we wanted it to be, just because it was. We didn't have like a religious scholar or anything come to our place to kind of analyze what was happening. I guess I should start at the beginning, right? Just things were happening and it was very odd and it was very terrifying. And हमारे घर भी काफी लोग आते जाते रहते थे. My grandparents didn't live at our house, but it was just like kind of central location for everybody. So just in and out. People would stay over and friends and family and everything. And so other people also had certain experiences. And then I think in the thread, in Kayhan's thread that was similar, was he was talking about how that tree in that alley it just felt wrong being there. And there were certain parts of our house where you just were uncomfortable, just like that prickly feeling at the back of your neck where you're just like, oh, rongte khade ho jate hain, right? Just like, oh, something's off. Something is off. Even though it's fucking broad daylight, something is off in this space. And so there were several spaces like that in our house. So the basement, there was like a mini kitchen upstairs, my entire fucking room, but specifically like my bathroom and my closet. It was like a walk-in closet and then attached bathroom. And then the terrace just never felt right going out there.
Did you see something in the closet as well?
I did.
Oh wow.
So is that, how do I explain it? It wasn't it was like an L-shaped closet. So when you open the big doors, I a couple of times saw someone sitting kone mein, like towards the end of the closet, and it was fairly dark and stuff. And what you said about gray skin, like that is also
What?
yeah. Not so much stretched out, but like the skin itself, it's literally looked like dead skin. And very gaunt, very like starved, very skinny, cheekbones nikle hue and
Model.
Timothy Chalamet.
Model.
yeah, Timothy Chalamet when he's dead, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucked because I needed clothes to wear every day. Yeah. And it wasn't every day, right? But when I saw it, it was kind of like trying not to see, just taking out clothes very methodically, very robotically, just like, don't pay too much attention. And just like, and then never, the thing, I don't even know if it was like a man or a woman or whatever, it never did or said anything, but it was very much like,
it was there.
It was just there. And it was like, I was in its space. And whatever I needed to do, I got to do it, and I got to get out, And similarly with, I think I mentioned the shower thing, like my bathroom. I had a small window and light or whatever, but I just, anytime I looked away from the door when I was taking a shower, it was just someone is standing behind me. Like this close, like I could just feel it. So I immediately had to aankhein khol ke shampoo dal rahi hu balon mein.
Johnson's no more tea.
Just so I don't have to close my eyes because I don't want to open my eyes and see what I know I'm going to see.
Sure.
So that happened quite a bit, and there were certain times where we just wouldn't go upstairs, like pura jo upar wala hissa tha na, like we would just avoid it, and the family mostly stayed downstairs and everything. And
was it like as a result of some sort of like sound or something? It was just a vibe, and everyone just unspokenly understood.
It was, yeah, I think the latter part, it was very much like a vibe, like, okay, there's been a little bit too much activity these past few days, so let's just maybe avoid certain areas of the house and stick to one area.
Were you guys discussing this amongst yourselves? Like,
oh yeah. So similarly with what Kayhan is saying, is like there wasn't any bachon se chupane. It kind of
How
goes
old
into
were you?
survival mode. I was like 14, 15. And so we lived in that house for like 4 years, I think 4 or 5 years.
And there was a thing where you mentioned your youngest khala came to visit once, and she heard something.
That I did not know about that story. and my mom told me about that story. And she and her husband were in the guest room, and she was sleeping, and she heard someone. She's like, "अच्छा ऐसे कोई तस्वीर पढ़ रहा था और ठा करके beads फेंक रहा था जमीन पे," just like really, really loudly. And she's like, "I just went up and checked, and I just saw this man who I know does not belong in the family, who's not a family member."
But big, like a huge person.
Yeah.
And you also had a huge person in your incidents, right?
Yeah, but my cousin who was also in a guest room saw it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Bro,
Maybe if you guys stop inviting people to your house,
Yeah, I think that's the solution.
Yeah.
guys, तुम लोग का पूरा घर ही guest room था. You guys were the guest.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
And then in your scenario, Zahra, it became very real because you went and you got like a alim or whatever the word
Yes.
would be.
Yes, my mom got an alim because similarly, she wasn't our cook, but she was just our house help who lived with us. She had started acting very strange.
Yeah.
Like, what is good? Just aimlessly roaming around the house, and usko bulate the, samne khadi hoti thi with like, "Hello, Chanda," and she just like
Her name was
snapped out of
Chanda.
it. Yes,
Chanda.
her name was Chanda.
There was also a moon incident somewhere. I don't know if it was in Kayhan's story.
What? Sorry?
What incident?
Moon-related incident. Someone was talking.
Yeah, that was my story.
Okay. Up thread
What was
pad
the moon
lijiyega,
incident?
people.
Yeah, please read Zahra's
thread.
thread also.
Yeah, they're both.
It's a trip. Yeah.
I
Then
think we got it off easy. But anyway, yeah, so we had like some guy come, and he had taken us outside in the garden, and he had a knife with him,
of course.
and he drew in the grass, or well, wherever Chanda was standing, he drew a circle around her,
Okay.
and he was talking to the thing inside her, I suppose, and he was like, right?
Yeah, so his theory was that Chanda is possessed.
Yes.
And he knew this immediately. Dekhte hi.
No, he didn't know it immediately. I think he did a couple of kuch padhai wagera usne ki, and the way that I guess she responded. I'm obviously like a little fuzzy on the details. But the way that she was responding, he was like, "Okay, I have a theory. Like, let me test it out." So he did, and then she was like standing like this, like very indignant, and just like yeah, and she's like, "I'm all right, fine, like I won't move," and he was like asking her questions, like, "Where did you come from? What are you doing here? And do you have to leave?" and all that kind of stuff. And so the thing
did the thing leave?
Apparently it did. Apparently.
Wow.
But it was basically like she had been with her since she was a kid. Yeah.
So it wasn't Ghar Mein Aake.
It wasn't Ghar Mein Aake. But so you know how Kayhan, you were saying, or your scholars were saying about there's like a family of 5 that was living upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the case with us. I think our house was just like a pit stop.
Oh wow.
Guest house.
Just exactly like a guest house. And so there were just people literally just
in the
and
fabric.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about, but I think that that's truly what it was. And because we didn't have a lot of the same experiences twice.
Acha.
It was so yeah, and then I don't know what other details
there was
talk about.
Apart from this, there was stuff you found in the house, like there was a snake, there was something with needles.
Yeah.
Oh man, fuck. I just forgot that I said those things. But yes, my mother found a snake in our garden, and it was like subah, like dawn, so after Fajr but before sunrise. So it's like that very little light in the morning and stuff, and she just fucking killed it. She's like, "What the fuck is my mother's like an extremely fearless woman. And so she kind of made a connection. She's like, okay, this thing is misplaced. It does not belong in this house. And before it does any serious damage, my children are sleeping inside. I'm going to kill it.
Rizwan, have you ever encountered snakes in Lahore? Asal snakes, not figurative.
Not your friends.
There are garden snakes in Lahore. I know
Right.
of that much.
Yeah.
But
Like we saw one snake in our house many years ago. Like we used to leave the house when we were not living there for like a year or फिर हम आते थे. तो उस दौरान like the area was not very populated and there were a lot of empty plots around. So, I guess that's where it came from and उसको मारा नहीं था हमने. I think my dad and like the neighborhood guard they picked it up and like left it किसी खाली plot में to go into somebody else's house. Yeah, so
Here, you deal with this.
Yeah.
But then there was the thing also, Zahra, with the needles. What was that?
Okay.
क्यों
It's
लिखा
just
तुमने
like-
thread?
Really cut that in it. So we had come back from my nana's house one night and we were inside and our driver came to us to the front door like crying, like he's just like crying. And my mom's like, what the hell happened? And he was like, किसी ने जो है ना बकरे का सिर रखा है. And there were needles inside and it was at the entrance of his quarters.
oh
So,
man.
yeah,
you know,
so
that's like something to do with black magic and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's what you
Yeah.
hear
Yeah,
mostly. Yeah.
That's like a classic Pakistani black magic thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic auntie, Lahori
when
auntie.
you say you need needles, do you mean like those tiny needles, like the sewing
no,
needles?
like really long ones.
Like
big
knitting
fuck off
needles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, big fuck off needles.
Big fuck off
Yeah.
needles.
Yeah, huge, just yeah. And so it was scary because we threw it away. They threw it away somehow, but we kept finding them in the garden afterwards, like weeks. And so I don't know if someone kept coming in and throwing them or
Yeah.
it was just residual needles or whatever. So
Residual.
You know, something about Bakre ki Siriyan, if you check some some like purane butchers in Lahore who have like a good reputation, vagera,
Yeah.
they'll never give you like a sabat siri.
Yeah.
Like
really,
of course, like a bakre ka sar is also food, right? People
Yeah.
cook it like siri pai vagera.
Hmm.
So they'll always like clean it up and carve it out for you and then give it to you. And I've
but
seen
they won't
that
give you.
happen. They won't generally give you like a baziya kata hua sir.
Right.
I've seen that at my local butcher once many years ago, and this auntie came up to the butcher, and she asked for like a sabat siri, and the guy was like, "Madam, aap jaye yahan se."
Wow.
So I had no idea at that point कि क्या मतलब है सबका. And I was like, why is he being so rude? And
Right.
she just turned around and sat in her car and drove away. And then Sona uncle, his name is Sona, and he tells me,
कितना सोना है?
Bhaijan, Bhaijan, ye scene hai. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Which something we won't talk about in detail in this episode, but there's another thread on Twitter today of a Karachi incident where a girl is walking her dog and she passes by a graveyard of some sort, or there are
okay.
graves, and she has been there aksar, but this time when she passed,
Isn't that in Lahore?
It's in
Maybe in
Islamabad, I think.
maybe in
'Cause
Islamabad,
she's from
Pakistan.
She's from Islamabad.
Oh, acha, Pakistan. And there was a cover there, and she found कि उस cover के ऊपर there is some sort of contraption, और उस पे हड्डियां लटकी हुई
Whoa.
right above the cover. She also put up a picture of this.
You put a picture?
of
I want to
that
see
cover
it.
With
I'm gonna go see
yeah,
it
I'll send it
after.
to you guys if you don't find
Yeah.
it. But we haven't spoken to her, so we're not going to talk about her like
Right,
name
right.
handle or whatever. But scenes on it.
Yeah. No, but Kayhan, what you were saying, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. जी बताएं.
नहीं, वो जो, you know what you were saying about you get desensitized, like that, I recognize that very much as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes the desensitization happens, and then sometimes the experience is so jarring that you kind of snap back into it, right? So
Yeah.
ये जब हुआ था, like city का incident, family को बताया, you know, a couple of people were around and were like, हाँ city बड़ी, or you know, my cousins were like, चलो पाए बना लेने थे, क्या बनता, क्या जानते हैं.
लाहौर.
Yeah.
वो
city मिली हुई, तुम लोग पाए बना रहे.
Acha, today
Guys,
I
sorry.
never thought
I-
about this before, but today I
Yeah.
learned that Siri means the head, which makes sense now.
Yeah.
I never knew what Siri was. Gigi, बताएं Rizwan.
Guys, so I have a tiny question for both of you, Kayhan and
Yeah.
Zahra. So when the first time you guys actually experienced it in person, uh, was the reaction the first time ever? Was it still very subdued, or did you like scream your head off and like run away? क्या scene था?
Kayhan, you go
So should I go first?
Yeah.
Sure, go first.
मैं तो like I couldn't talk. Like I like my first experience was that waking up next to it, and I couldn't talk, and I like you feel sick. Like the fear is a lot. Like so you feel sick to your stomach. Like you know, like मुझे like my mother told me in the morning, okay, like I was pale as a ghost, and क्या कहते हैं, I was sweating profusely. So and in the morning I did have a fever. Like I got that scared. So my like it shock. The fear is out of shock. It's not out of fear. I don't think कि वो fear उस sense में होता है कि like oh डर लग गया. It's just like shock. And yeah, I didn't say a single word to my mother when I went to her bed. Like I just didn't. And I just she called मतलब like I then like slept between my parents. But yeah, like and वो जो ये Zara कह रही थी कि like just pretending they're not there is sometimes the answer.
Yeah.
Because when I like cross the three bodies next to the railing, there's a story in there, uski. Like sometimes you just gotta do that. Like just well, you just don't think, and you're just like, okay, fine, it's there, just like move on.
Yeah, it's very much.
What do you
it becomes
think?
like a
What do you think?
survival
Sorry.
sort of thing, right?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Zara, what were you saying?
I was saying that there are certain points in time where you're just like, I just have to survive this moment.
Yeah, because it'll be fine. Like you're like, it'll be fine. You just gotta do it.
What do you think would have happened if you like confronted the bodies? Like, or kya scene hai? Eh?
Yeah, there's a bit of confrontation. Ji Zara.
So I was very much like I freeze in normal situations too, in normal everyday life, when I'm asked a question or put in a situation, I'm just like, fuck, now what? So that was very much the situation a lot of the times. Are you talking about the DVD thing? Fuck.
Oh, that was
yeah, that was pretty fucking crazy. So because Sir Kyle has not read the thread, he didn't do his homework. So there was one
historic trend. Hey, Sir Kyle, regards to homework.
So मेरे भाई के कमरे में TV or DVD player था, and I just felt like watching a movie, and so I was in his room trying to make the DVD player work and the TV work, and I was alone upstairs, बाकी सारे नीचे थे, and my brother's room was connected to the terrace, like just खिड़की थी ना, it was the terrace outside his window. And मैं चलाने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ, it's not working, CD निकाल के उसको फूंक रही हूँ, putting it back in, I'm hitting the TV, and nothing is working. And then I hear a voice from behind me from the terrace that said, ये नहीं चलेगा. And then I like whipped around, like, who the fuck said that? And obviously I didn't see anyone. And the DVD player behind me just like burst. There's like a pop, and it just started smoking, and it just went kaput, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the voice wasn't like, it wasn't like an obnoxious maniacal laugh, but it was kind of like a ha ha ha, like I told you so, you know. And I was just like, what the fuck? And so I exited the room again with my facing the window from like where the voice was coming from. I didn't want to turn my back on the voice. Basically I just like went downstairs backward, and I told my mom, I was like, yeah, the DVD player doesn't work anymore, I'm sorry. I didn't do anything, I promise. It's really hard to talk about वो जिन्ने का आगे चलेगा नहीं और वो नहीं अब चल रहा, you know. Like how do we even
Yeah.
oh yeah, you know, something happened upstairs and I'm downstairs.
Uh, there was one thing that I wanted to freak out Rizwan with, which relates to a story that we talked about in an earlier Jinn Stories episode, where Zara, you and your one and only sibling, you often have the exact same dreams.
Yes. This is so this is you asked Kayhan this question earlier about any negative effects of being in that house and stuff, and I strictly firmly believe, for whatever the fucking reason is, I don't know why, I don't like it, whatever, my brother and I are still like deeply connected to that house, and so we will have dreams of that house. We will have nightmares. We're just still connected to that house in very, very strange ways. बहुत से ऐसे incidents होते हैं, and a lot of them happen upstairs. The dreams will happen upstairs. And there was this one time specifically where I was like, and okay, I don't know how many of you have seen The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
No.
So
I avoid such shows on purpose.
I know, me too. But basically, there's a storyline. The premise is that there's this room in that house called the Red Room. And so anytime someone is in the Red Room, all the siblings like feel it. I don't know if you remember that part, Rizwan, where, you know, just सबसे छोटी बहन थी, she was in the Red Room, and सारे जो siblings थे ना वो सो रहे थे, all of them like in their different beds woke up and they were like, oh, she's in the Red Room. And so that's how I feel about this house. And so anytime I have a dream about it, I will immediately call my brother. I don't even tell my parents anymore. It's just me and my brother. He's my best friend in the whole world. And so naturally I'm like, bro, I had a fucking dream about the fucking goddamn house. But it's the house. That is the house. And that's like, you know. And one time I had a dream, and so I called him. I was like, hey, I had a dream about the house. He's like, that's weird. I had a dream about the house too. And it's like, cool, this is what we were doing. You were there. He's like, yeah, that is what we were doing. And you were also there. That's weird. And it was just such a weird, like, oh my God, we had the same dream and we had it at the same time and we were there at the same time. It was the same story, same people, same everything. It was intense.
Acha, can I like dream se mujhe yaad aaya? Can I like tell you an exclusive story? Because dream se mujhe yaad aaya. So basically, before we moved into that house, when we lived in Rawalpindi, my elder sister used to have a recurring dream of a family of 5. Yeah, this is recurring. Wait.
No.
They used to wait. They used to be sitting for a family portrait, and all of them had green eyes. And
fucking green eyes का जो मसला है ना जिन related.
ये मुझे नहीं पता. नहीं, green eyes का क्या मसला है? मुझे नहीं पता. I don't know this green, but she did have this recurring dream for like years before we moved into that house. So I don't know if there's a connection. Like,
photographer
dies.
I don't know. They like really old family, like not like purane zamane ki, like, you know, for getting ready for a photo or
family
something.
of 5. Yeah, I've talked about this in the previous, I think, initial episode. But so there is a tree in both of your situations. There is in many Pakistani jinn stories.
Situation is right.
Yeah, there's there's a connection to a tree, or a bale. In my mom's scenario, they lived in a house in PCHS.
But your mom had a scenario?
Yeah.
Where is
Is
she?
it in
Why
a
is it in the
podcast?
podcast?
Yeah. Where can we watch the
we've
podcast?
we've talked about this, I think, in one of the earlier Jinn stories. But
Okay.
उनका
Yeah.
भी यही scene था कि in PCHS in Karachi, they lived in a house जिसमें जिन थे apparently, and she was very young, I think, and
Mhm.
those jinns were also not aggro, uh,
Mhm.
they were just also in the house. And
Mhm.
there were a lot of similarities in the stories that you guys put up and the stories that they had, um, where ek dafa there was a room on the roof, and my
Mhm.
nani's eldest sister came to stay over. She was staying in the house and she was just sleeping. वो उठी हैं रात को, और the pankha is on the floor. It's just been disassembled and just put on the
Whoa.
floor. एक और रात वो उठी हैं, अब तो कमरे के बीच में there's this big huge guy reading the Quran, तिलावत चल रही है,
What's with these huge
Whoa.
guys, man?
and बहुत सारे
They're
छोटे
either
छोटे
huge or
बच्चे,
either tiny. Like there's no in
Right.
between.
There's no
बहुत
between.
सारे
Yeah.
छोटे छोटे बच्चे जो हैं, they're just running around the room, and
Oh.
and she's like, what the fuck is happening? Or but they were decidedly more whimsical. एक कोई जानने वाले थे, वो गंजे थे, वो घर आए थे, और जब वो सीढ़ियां चढ़ते थे तो he would feel someone hitting him on the head. Yeah, Karachi jinns. But
Karachi.
the only weird
Rafi थे ना सर.
the only weird thing in the house was that there was a bale that went off the roof or the terrace or whatever and just hung all the way down. So if you would go near that, it would feel like somebody is pushing you from behind. Not
Whoa.
force it, but you could feel it
Into the bed or
over the railing.
Whoa.
Yeah, because it was on a railing. Na bail niche latki hui thi, so they're pushing you, and it's like, if you fuck
that's
with
not
this,
very nice of Karachi Jinns to do.
yeah, but वो green thumbs थे ना उनके, आपको पता है, vegetation. What happened was there is a sequel to this story where we went. I don't know. This is when I was living in Pakistan then, so in the 2000 to 2010 period. उसी एरिया में किसी और का भी घर था, तो वहाँ कुछ शादी वादी कुछ सीन था. So my mom and my khala and they were all like, चलो चलो, let's go. They fucking पता नहीं क्या जोश चढ़ा उनको, and they could just walk to that house. But it was a bit anticlimactic, but they went specifically देखने के लिए कि bro अब क्या scene है. And that house has no one lives there. It has been turned into like what is called a godam, but I suppose that's just like a warehouse storage situation. And there were just workers who just had charpais और वो बस वहाँ रहते थे, or they had seen nothing. But that house, the one inference from this is that it ceased to be a residential place.
Right.
Yeah.
वो भी किराए पे रहते थे, मेरी अम्मा and her mom and all that. But yeah, so the big guy, and then in the previous Jinn Stories episodes we've had, there's often been a big guy, often dark. We haven't had something where, like in Zahra's story, someone draws random lines and those lines turn into a picture of a woman, and like a weird Rorschach test. But that hasn't happened. And then you guys are seeing more things over a course of time. But all these themes are quite consistent. Oh yeah, ek dafa meri second eldest sister who lived in the US. Everyone's passed away now. But unko khab aaya. My nani would interpret khabs for some reason. Unko khab aaya where among one of the things, her house in the US was unclean, cobwebs, dust, ये वो, और वो साफ कर रही हैं और वो साफ नहीं हो रहा. Or I was there for this reading, and this was also when we were in Karachi. So she said कि आपके घर पे जादू हुआ है. My nani just said straight up, that's what's happened. उनकी बड़ी बहन भी like, अच्छा. And it's like, all right.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we heard nothing about this. But sometime later, months and months later, you know how in the US, often the big fridge of the house is in the garage. So one of my nani's sisters, what's a son's child, Poti? Yeah, her granddaughter had gone out to the fridge in the garage, and वो भी अक्सर वो भी कहती थी कि पता नहीं, people said कि हाँ एक साहब दिखे थे हमें घर के पास ये वो, but again not malign. She opens the fridge, and that family has been super successful, but they've also had in recent past decades or two, they've had like serious bad luck, like random गंदी बीमारियां हो गई और
Right.
like no
Yeah.
financial masle masail ye wo ho raha hai. She opens the fridge and she finds like a proper pin cushion with like suiyan lagi hui hain uske andar all the way in the back of the fridge jahan aap
Whoa.
so हाँ, पता नहीं क्या, we didn't tell her where it was, but yeah, so a lot
Wow.
of
Yeah.
themes match हो रही हैं.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can
The
I do a
last
really?
time I visited,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. मैं बाद में
पहले आप,
बता
जी पहले आप.
दूँ. पहले.
Just similarly, just thinking about the house and how, in so many ways, for whatever reason, we're still connected. And last time I visited Pakistan, for a long time, 3 weeks, whatever, 2016. And so we were just driving past that neighborhood. I was with the driver, and I was like, "Oh, can we stop by really quick?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And we did, and it was as like fucking scary as ever. It just really just daunting. It was dark and it looked abandoned but well kept. And so I made a video to send to my family. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm at the house, and it doesn't look like anyone lives there. Samne wala plot abhi bhi khali hai, blah blah blah." And so I sent that video to my family. That night, the dreams that I had about that fucking house, it was so horrific. And I woke up in the middle of the night and my brother was in the States and I called him immediately. I was like hyperventilating, panicking. And it was very much like the house knew that I had visited. And so it was like either warning me or just angry that I visited. And it's an extremely uncomfortable dream. And I woke up and hyper, like not crying, but just like I couldn't breathe. I was like, "I went to the house. I sent you the video. And I think they're mad, whoever is still there, I think they're just like still mad. And I just like need you to talk to me. I need you to calm me down. I need you to tell me that I'm safe. I didn't feel safe in a different house. Like it was really insane.
Let us know about the dreams you have tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure.
Why don't you let me know about the dreams you have?
Yeah, you need to read the threads, man. Like read the thread.
I'm
And
reading
then dream
shit.
some.
I'm reading shit.
So
And then the last thing I'll say about the house is that because of the thread, the previous owner, I don't know if you guys got that far in the thread, but the previous owner contacted me and he's like, "Yo, that's my fucking house."
Oh,
like
wow.
he also knew कि हाँ bro ये scene तो
Yeah.
था उधर.
He corroborated my story.
Nice.
And it's hilarious because we bought the house from his family. So I have met this guy. I have met his family. Like we have like a whole conversation on whatever Twitter messages, just like, "Yo, is this the house? Yes, this is the house. My dad built it and we sold it in 2004. I was like, "Yeah, we moved in there in 2004, which means we've met. I remember you guys were 2 sisters and 2 brothers." And he's like, "That's a very good memory." And I was like, "You have a brother. He had really curly hair and he was wearing glasses." He's like, "Yeah, Osman, that's what? Who are you again?" It's just so it was crazy because he was like, "Yeah, we are very well aware. We didn't have it as bad as you guys did, but we had
weird that they built the house. Because usually ये भी कहते हैं कि these
पुराने
people
घर.
are there. हाँ पहले से हैं वो उधर. But in
No, he
both
was
of your
telling me
cases-
that his dad bought the plot in the 80s and then had built that house.
शायद plot से देखो.
Two of my neighbors actually found like neighbors we never knew who are living there. They actually figured out it was the house in their street, and they actually contacted me afterwards. Ye bacche hote the, and they don't. Both of these families don't never lived in that street. They lived in Canada, and they were like, "This is the house. This is the house." So they had like this whole family chat in their WhatsApp groups, and then they also sent me photos of that house, of our house.
That dude sent me a photo
Yeah,
too. He
and then-
went over that day at night for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He sent me a photo and he's like, "This is a lot more formidable than I remember."
And they were like, we knew there was something wrong with that house. Like we felt it when we passed through it, and like it's the house. We can't believe it. But a really
Nice.
funny story, like I really want to share this. So I found out that Zara and I have a mutual friend in DC,
Yes.
Nurmir. Yeah. She's awesome. So the thing is, the first time this is a really funny story. The first when we got to be friends, Nurmi and I, like a decade ago, I was at her house for a party, and this is just like her and I getting to know each other. And randomly, we were drinking, we were partying, and randomly at like in the middle of the night, she comes up to me and she goes like, "Yo, Kayhan, you've got Jinn eyes. I can tell you've seen some shit." And I was like, "How do you know? How do you know?" And then we all like sat down and we like talked about jinns.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's so
I
hilarious.
think Jinn Eyes is a great point to stop this recording. Thank you very much for coming. Viewers, listeners, in the description of the episode, you'll find the threads. That's fine if I put the threads in the description.
Yeah.
For people.
हाँ बस मुझे दोबारा ना भेजना.
Uh-huh.
I know. I'm good.
Nobody-
I don't need to be
nobody asked
reminded.
them any questions, nothing. अगर आपको कोई सवाल है, too bad.
Right, too bad.
है और ये episode है, that's it. And if you find the other thread that we spoke about, check it out. ठीक है जी, guys, I'm gonna stop recording. We can still.
Okay, thanks for having us. It was fun.
Bye.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
One TPR board, मोहल्ला पर. ओके जी, खुदा हाफिज.
Good office.
It's crazy. I don't think anyone lives here anymore, but अंदर लाइटें जली हुई हैं है ना वो अभी तक बाहर लटका हुआ है I don't think you can see it but बाग